So what up? This is Sean, Lonegevity with the New Old Heads podcast for episode 424. Shouts to Brother to the Night, who was our guest. We talked about Kendrick and the Super Bowl and all that goes, we broke it down song by song, all the Easter eggs, all that good stuff. We also talked about the person that I don't like talking about, Kanye West. But more specifically, we talked about if you can separate art and artistry. And then we had a very long conversation on if Kendrick Lamar is the greatest of all time. So we await your hate. So make sure you watch, make sure you pay attention, and make sure you hit play and whatever. Bye.
You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
What up? You are now tuned into the New Old Heads podcast. I'm DJ Jay Diff in the house, and we got my brothers with me, my fellow cohorts of the show. We're going to start off with Jay Moore. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well, just coming off of a Super Bowl weekend. I hope everybody's bets went the way they wanted them to go.
I can dig that. Next up, we got Lonegevity.
Oh, hi.
Or Longevity, yes.
No, it's not that. Don't call me long.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man.
That's what's up. And then we got I got Brother to the Night in the building as well.
Hey, greetings, salutations.
Already.
Ha 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 ha.
Hey, that means it's about to be a interesting show.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff today.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We got some things to talk about.
Matt, Maja told me to say, y'all fake mad. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Who fake mad?
All the Drake fans or whatever. So.
That's a
of
typical
course. What'd I say?
Major 7th response.
We don't care about the people.
Yeah.
But we are here, and we are here to talk about things that have happened in the world of hip hop and around the past week.
We're going to talk a little bit about Irv Gotti.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace to...
I wanted him to see my shows.
You wanted him to see your show?
I'm sorry, that was terrible.
But yeah,
all right, 50.
But yeah, Irv Gotti, the boisterous, smiley music mogul who founded Murder Inc. Records and was behind major hip hop and R&B artists, died last Wednesday. He was 54. He died from a stroke, I believe.
I think it was
He had a
diabetes.
Yeah, it was diabetes.
Related
kind of led
to it.
bless.
I see. But he's known for working with artists such as Ashanti, Ja Rule. Those are the two main ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely Ashanti.
Oh, absolutely.
But also with Jay-Z, Nas, DMX, early 2000s was kind
I
of
think
his
he
era.
actually is instrumental in actually discovering Jay-Z, Ja Rule, and DMX. He had a big role in that situation.
Yeah, he was. He actually produced, for Jay-Z's first album, and was instrumental in getting them off of, Rockefeller away from Profile, which that was the first album. They weren't on Def Jam until In My Lifetime. He was instrumental in that.
Yeah, because he was actually working for Def Jam at the time.
Yeah, and plus he was the one where nobody believed in DMX. He was like, no, this guy, he's gonna be the one,
and he proved that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a bunch of interesting stories too. He actually had talked about in one interview of how he was trying to kind of structure Jay-Z's sound, and Jay-Z, after Big passed, kind of wanted to pick up that sound. So if you pay attention to the sound of In My Lifetime Volume 1, he had the shiny suit videos and
Sunshine is easily his worst video.
and kind of the You Belong to the City, those were like Diddy style vibes. And once that didn't all the way work for him, he had heard like Swiss Beats and things of that nature, and so Irv was able to kind of get them together. So yeah, Irv was very instrumental in hip hop outside of Murder Inc. and Ja Rule and Ashanti and things of that nature. So definitely rest in peace to him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just crazy when, because sometimes the personality can get to a point where it outshines the work. Like a lot of times, some of the side things, like of course his whole situation with Ashanti can, their so-called relationship, and the talk about that kind of outshines the fact that he had her on a level to where I remember when Beyonce's first album, Dangerously Love, came out, I remember a reviewer saying, this is good, but Beyonce's no Ashanti. Mm-hmm. That's how high up Ashanti was at that point.
He was.
You know, you're talking about somebody who had number ones, was selling millions of records when people bought records, and that was, you know, that was all that Murder Inc. Influence.
Absolutely.
You know, at one point he had signed Vanessa Carlton. Like, you know, so.
Ashanti actually had a struggling career before she got with Irv. Because she was signed to a label prior to that when she was like 15 or 16 years old, and they were trying to develop her into an artist, and it just wasn't working out. And Irv was able to step in and actually make something out of her. So,
you know, it's just crazy how like people who wind up getting dropped from situations, people are like, they don't have it, and they just get with the right people, and then it's out of here. I mean, like, you know, at one point, Columbia, I want to say, had 50 Cent and Alicia Keys, and they were like, nah, this isn't gonna work. And, you know.
Yeah, did y'all see what he said about the whole 50 Cent thing, too? Because Def Jam could have signed 50 Cent before Eminem. Mm-hmm. And they had that beef that I'd already brewed by then. And he pretty much told Def Jam, nah, we ain't signing him. And that's how he was able to get with M and Dre. And he was saying, hindsight 2020, I should have actually signed him and just screwed him over. You know what I'm saying? And hey,
he could have did that.
They beef was real, man.
That was the worst thing.
How do y'all feel about 50 doubling down on the beef after he passed, though?
I didn't see what he said.
He said he wanted him to see some of his shows. He was
what he had said.
Yeah,
I don't understand the inside joke. So
he just said he wanted them to see the new shows of Power or whatever, and he's smoking on that Gotti pack tonight.
Then he said, God bless, like it was a joke.
I see.
But yeah, people were up in arms about 50 Cent pretty much doubling down on the beef with him passing away.
Look, when it's real beef, it don't go anywhere, even when the person dies.
He tried to kill him, man.
Yeah. You know, like that didn't have anything to do with like the music industry. That was real street stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like that wasn't, I would think less of 50 if he came out and said, I want to spend a special prayer out to Irv Gotti and his family. I'd be like, well, don't do that now.
It's who he is at the end of the day. And Irv probably would have had the same energy. Because there have been people who've tried to get them together and say, hey, everybody's rich now. Let's go ahead and just move on. And it's like, no, this is Southside Jamaica, Queens. This has nothing to do with the music industry. So it wasn't in poor taste because, you know, you always have the option to say nothing.
Yeah, that's
you always have the option to say nothing. But
50 ain't that guy.
But 50 has never been that person. So
I enjoy it because he's true to him.
Yeah. So let's not expect. It's like when people say, I'm just so disappointed in somebody. Why are you disappointed? And I remember one time somebody, you know, Trick Daddy of all people has said something and people say, I'm so disappointed. How are you in a space where you're disappointed in
Trick Daddy? That's real.
Irv Gotti, you know, when you get past, you know, the Drink Champs interviews and all the other wild stuff, if you look at his resume of hitmaking and who he put on, like this guy, you know, I don't like this. Legend may be a bit much, but right there.
No, he a legend.
Right there. Like when you talk about, when your fingerprints are on, you know, basically what saved Def Jam, Ja Rule, DMX, Jay-Z, you know, because Def Jam needed saving several times, and this is one of those times.
Yeah, we ain't gonna forget that Ja Rule was actually at the top of the game at one point in time before 50 Cent came around.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you think about even who was the biggest on Def Jam, outside of Hard Knock Life, Jay-Z was the only time he was number one on Def Jam because Here Comes X.
Yeah,
X. Because then, you know, when Jay-Z was selling 2 and 3, which is fantastic, X was selling 5 and 6. And then here comes Ja Rule doing the same thing, selling 5 and 6. So, you know, he was behind not just, you know, a couple little songs here and there. He was behind like I just remember that time you couldn't get away from Ja Rule and Murder Inc.
Yeah,
you know,
unfortunately.
Justice for Ja, as Curtis King says.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm sad that, you know, he didn't lose a foot. You know, he had to lose his life. You know what I mean? That escalated pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, I think it's been an ongoing thing for at least 4 or 5 years. 'Cause I don't know if y'all noticed that Irv had lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
He was skinny for a while, so he had got sick previously. Pretty much was just trying to beat it and overcome the situation at hand, and it just didn't work in his favor, unfortunately.
Like Fife Dog all over.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's crazy. It's another example of, you know, all the money in the world, when you get sick, it's not going to do you any good. You know, if money couldn't save Steve Jobs, it's not going to save you either. So
That's real.
You know, do the best you can to take care of yourself. Drink water, eat fruit. You know what I'm saying? Try not to be so stressed out over things that don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Go to the doctor.
That too.
Kendrick Lamar.
He's got a couple songs.
He does. He has a few of them. He performed a lot of them that were probably unexpected, which we're going to talk about. So we can kind of break this down. I have kind of like a track by track breakdown. We can maybe talk about the symbolism and kind of what you guys thought about it in general. Okay. But so Kendrick Lamar performed at the Super Bowl. We got some interesting. It was a divisive performance
very
on
divisive.
many different levels. But what were your general thoughts after seeing it?
It was my favorite performance. No, probably a Super
Of
Bowl.
all time?
Yeah, just because, I mean, aside from Prince.
That's what Prince is my favorite.
Yeah, but as far as seeing hip hop on that stage, it surpassed the Dre and Snoop one for me, man, just because Kendrick is my guy, man. It was like watching a live Kendrick video.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and to me, I don't think there's another rapper right now that could do what he did on that stage, man.
Nope.
Yeah,
I don't think another rapper ever get this opportunity again.
That's another interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a rapper, we don't know him yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in 10 years, there'll be somebody that comes along and is transcendent as Kendrick. We just never know. But of the class of rappers who are out here now, they'd have to put together like a package deal, like a tribute to this, and then all these rappers do it. As far as like
from a solo point,
sticking, just I don't even want to say any names because it would come off as disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
But no, none of the rest of you can do this. I'm sorry,
I
you
just
can't.
don't see it.
So just to be clear, this is a Kendrick glazing session.
No,
So
we don't.
this is
if you want to hear some hate, you know what I mean, go somewhere.
We give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it, but they said it's not that I'm glazing Kendrick. I just glaze good art.
Yeah,
and sure,
Put it in the kiln, fire it up.
Yeah. It was
Great
Professor
Potter.
Sky that said that. He said that. He's
Okay.
like, if you want to say, no, I glaze good art. And yes, I'm absolutely glazing good art. So
I can dig that. Shout out to Scoot Dubs. He glazes art. But I thought this was, it's Kendrick Lamar. It was very polarized and it was energetic. To me, a lot of people were saying it was boring. And I really don't get that angle. It's almost like watching it just to not be entertained.
You know what they say about people that say things are boring?
Yeah, absolutely.
It means they're boring.
Yeah.
So
he did what he was supposed to do. Like when it comes to being Kendrick, he used this performance to showcase songs that he had not performed before. Because a lot of people were saying, well, why didn't he do We Gonna Be All Right? And what was the other song he said? I can't remember. But anyway, he performed those at other... Before he did that at the last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he had the very powerful performance. I want to say it was the Grammy Awards where everybody was locked up.
Yeah.
It was like they was performing out of a jail cell.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick is very strategic when he does these performances. So I kind of feel like when it comes to the track list of what he did, that was very purposeful for him not to do the same songs that he's already done and to still make sense and make it a monumentous occasion for what he did. Whether people understood it or appreciate that or not, or if you knew the songs or if you appreciated the songs. Me personally, I don't think every performance has to be a greatest hits type situation.
That's what people were expecting, you know what I mean? Like, man, he's supposed to come out and do the hits. Like, well, technically he did.
Yeah, because all of the songs that he performed on GNX are still in the top songs or whatever you call it. You
top
know
100.
Top 100, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, he had SZA come out and do a couple songs. And then the inclusion of Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam.
Fire.
So I have the set list. We can kind of go down through it and kind of decipher it as we've seen. But Jay, do you have any?
It was hard when I would see some people with the criticism of the show saying it was boring or whatever. And I was like, first of all, some of you just aren't fans of hip hop like that. And you were expecting it to be a Beyonce concert with Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
And this is the thing with Kendrick Lamar. There's nothing he does that you're not going to have to do a deep dive of, or you're not going to have to check for symbolism. There might be something where you went back and had to say, "Oh, that's what happened there." That is his. That's just Kendrick's thing. I personally am impressed that, not that he knew, because this was all set up before the election, but, the fact that, like, he basically did, this was a protest performance for Commander-in-Chief, if you will. I'm here for all of that. And, I'm here for anybody who is going to be themselves in their performance. I don't think Kendrick took any shorts. I don't think he compromised himself, as a man or an artist, or, of course, I think there are just people who, you're not fans of hip hop like that. You don't understand what it is to actually do a good live performance in hip hop, because you're so used to people rapping over TV tracks and jumping up and down, and there being explosions and glass shattering, and, people not being able to finish their verses. I was impressed as much from that, the breath control, the ability to edit himself, continually through the performance. And like I said, I'm looking at the way it's set up, from Prison Yard and Squid Games and the street. Like, I'm seeing all of the intricacies of that and understanding that this is something that's shot for television. So it's everything has to be deliberate. He didn't sneak anything in. The only thing they snuck in was that flag situation. But I
don't think he did that.
He did not do that, because
he did sneak some stuff in.
Yeah,
that's the
he
thing
was
that's
definitely
so good.
gangbanging.
He always sneaks. He always gets some stuff in. But, he got to pass all the people from Apple to the NFL. They're like, all right, well, we don't see anything. So, there's a lot of medicine in the candy, if you will. And this hip hop's been doing this for a long time. Remember when LL wore the FUBU hat and the Gap hat? Sometimes that's just how the game is played. But once again, I enjoyed it. This is the music that I like in my personal time.
Yeah, I thought it was. I like the performance. I like to break it down a little bit more nuanced. As far as like performance is concerned, I think it was the most creative, artistic halftime show that I've ever seen. And I have an immense amount of respect for that. I don't know if it was the best overall musical performance necessarily. Again, I still like Prince's the most, but
hard to top that.
Yeah, and it started raining. All things being said, I appreciate deeply what Kendrick did, how he did it, the track listing that the imagery, the storytelling within just the 13 minutes of everything that he did, which we're going to talk about. But even the fact that he made it extremely rap centric. Like, he went out there and rapped. The only choruses on the entire thing were the SZA records. So he rapped the entire time. And when you think about it from that, he's really putting rap at front and center, which kind of cements, what he's kind of been saying about what he said at the Grammys about rap music being super important and most important, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So I was watching it like I was watching like a feature film more than I was watching it like a bunch of music. Yeah. And I think that's what I appreciated about it. So
I think that's true to his performances. Like, all the time. He always sets up a performance that is going to make you think a little bit theatrical than the surface level that you've seen. And I think a lot of people, what they picked up on the Super Bowl was a lot of surface level things. And now, as we're able to watch it back, it's like, oh, okay, I see that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to move on from there, but if you have something to say.
Oh, no, and one of the things I enjoyed post-performance were just all the white tears.
Yeah, so that's what so what, is there anything that we can like learn from America's response from this? I mean, there's nothing that really kind of surprised me at all. This is exactly what I expected. I know next year's probably going to be extra white,
Absolutely.
But
I don't know. I said that after the G-Funk Super Bowl. And
well, maybe not.
Jay-Z's still in charge.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, but I guess to my 2 cents is nothing has surprised me.
Nah. I think what's going to happen is, and I think Kendrick actually alluded to this by using Samuel L. Jackson to play Uncle Sam. The things that he was saying as Kendrick is performing is exactly how America is looking at this performance.
Yeah, I think he did that on purpose.
That was very purposeful.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they were thinking, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, just from the general consensus of what's going on about this performance, I mean, you have groups over here that loved it. You have the group in the center that are just Drake fans and ain't gonna like it anyway.
You also got people that just don't really care about symbolism or imagery or nothing like that. They just want to dance. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of that as well. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. But, you know, people entitled to like what it is that they like. Yeah. You know what I mean? But for me, as a child that grew up with hip hop, you know what I mean? It's a lot. That's one of the things that I really appreciate from Kendrick is because he gave me a little bit of, I mean, he put the medicine in the candy just like I used to get growing up. I didn't, and it's not really the thing anymore.
Yeah, because now it's just all candy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, like I said, look, I've seen conversations just as silly as, oh, everybody knows Uncle Sam is white, and it's like, you know, it's not
a real thing.
Yeah, and
Megan
it's like,
Kelly?
you know, but maybe
so is Santa Claus, right?
so is Santa Claus, so is Jesus, anything, you know,
all these made up characters.
But I'm just saying that, like, it's par for the course. Like, that train is never late.
That is so stupid.
It is.
Like, you, Megan Kelly. That's so dumb. You're an idiot.
You know,
I want you to know that.
That's a typical Fox response to something, though.
That's so stupid, man.
Yeah.
You know, but that's, you know, what I was expecting that, and I was happy that that Kendrick didn't compromise himself in any way and just went ahead and he threw meat in the water for these people to expose themselves as racist.
Yeah.
Now, mind you,
the meat in the water.
Now,
pause.
Yeah, watch. Yeah, I'm sure. Chill. But at the same time, like, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, my mom and dad who are in their 70s watched it and were like, no, I don't get it, and that's fine. But you know, the people who, you know, so there are people who just, like, you know, they don't know hip hop, or it's not their music. But the thing is, they don't comment on it. Like my dad would probably be like, yeah. I'm happy for the young man, you know. But, you know, it's not like he would have anything really to say other than that. You know, maybe he'd be happy to see Sam Jackson. He's probably entertained by that, you know. But some people, like, as soon as it was done, it was like, oh, this is an affront to everything American, and I don't want to see this, and I'm not here to. Some people, they said they weren't here to think.
Why? Because they're lots of black people on stage, and
that was the problem for most.
And was it not DI enough for you?
It wasn't DI enough.
There was too much DI.
I don't know how the tables have turned.
DI is canceled. Remember, so no inclusion.
I'm sorry. Maybe if one of the white dancers would have been good enough, they could have made it on their own merit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not there. I couldn't dance good enough.
But no, I think it was 100% hip hop though. That was what Kendrick stood on that and made sure that everybody knew that I'm not here to play around with this opportunity that I received, and I'm going to do it my way versus doing it what everybody expected him to do. I mean, because leading up to this, everybody was like, is he going to do not like us? Is he not going to do not like us? Can he not do it because of the court case?
Right.
And he poked at it and jabbed at it.
Let's talk about the set list. Let's jump into it. So number one, it was produced by PG Lang, the whole thing, you know.
Dave Free.
And Dave Free and them. Yeah. I saw in an interview that he did with Ebro that they have 30 people on their PG Lang team, which I honestly was kind of in the dark about what PG Lang actually was, but kind of good to know. But so he started the set list with, well, number one, he only did records from 3 projects. Well, 2 projects and then the disses. So only off Damn and GNX. Started with the PlayStation game, but it also mirrored Squid Games.
Right. That sound.
The sounds and then, you know, and all that stuff, which is very interesting. If you noticed Kendrick's jacket, it said Gloria on it, which is obviously the last track on GNX, which is also in reference to his pen, which has been
what got him
this
far.
You know, and the whole thing, which is probably my favorite record on GNX. There was calculated color schemes throughout, so there's only really red,
white, and blue,
the entire thing, and then Kendrick, and black. Everything was very minimal, right? Super limited features, which is another thing because people were like, "Well, who's he going to bring out?" It was just Kendrick, and I almost think that SZA was only there for a prop for a part of it, which we can talk about in a sense in a little bit later. But
he looked good though.
So, but again, I said earlier, he just rapped. he just rapped. Like he went to the stage. He just rapped everything. Everything was rap centric. There was no choruses except for the SZA part. And it started out with like Sam Jackson as Uncle Sam. talking about the Great American Game, which again, this is references to Squid Games as well.
Squid
the
Games,
American
yeah.
Dream, America's Game. And I guess even like to the extent of like the game of what
The game you have to play.
For to be at the Super Bowl. Like, what's he going to do? Is he going to do this? And that was kind of alluded to through Sam Jackson's commentary as the narrator of this as well. Like, what game is he going to play? Is he going to do this and whatnot? So from there, he jumped into the GNX teaser, which is interesting because it was an unreleased song, but he also rapped lyrics that had not yet previously been released.
I expected that.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
So was that that's when the clown car of the GNX and he was rapping on that, right? And a bunch of people just kept coming out of it. So.
Yeah, that was fire.
Yeah. From there, Squabble Up, I believe?
Yes.
Nice way to set it off.
But then,
I think it was a good way to start just because, hey, that was a number one song for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, Sam Jackson came back in and he says, don't be too ghetto, which is essentially saying don't be too black.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's pretty much how he set off the show. He set off the show
song,
with that first song that was unreleased, and then he went and Squabble Up.
No, that's too ghetto, too loud.
Yeah. And it's almost like that's kind of the point of where he's kind of starting to get ahead of the criticism a little bit, like of what's going to be happening, which I guess is from all of it. And then from there, it's like he calmed down, right? And then he's like, all right, cool, let me jump into Humble, which, Humble is... You can say it's a humble song, but I don't know if I would argue that it's a humble record.
Nah. And I don't think Uncle Sam would necessarily agree with that section of song selections either.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Nah.
And so he went from Humble to DNA. And I think is that when they like switched the scene to like the street scene?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then he did Euphoria. Did you guys expect him to do Euphoria?
No.
I did not expect him to do Euphoria. The way he flipped it though, like, because he performed Euphoria and then it turned into like a doo-wop under the street light, which was a different way of hearing it.
That was Man in the Garden.
That was Man in the Garden. My bad. But the way that he did it and leading into that, I was not expecting that. Yeah. And it's like, as a rap artist, being him coming out victorious, he's still like letting you know that I whooped Drake's ass, and I'm using this stage to let you know this might be the last time that you hear me talk about this stuff.
I pray to God it is.
But me too. But I'm using the stage to let y'all know that I'm in this position, and it might have inspired whatever he did, woke whatever out of Kendrick, but look where it got him.
Do you think that this is I feel like the Super Bowl performance Drake is almost an afterthought. As far as the statement is being made, I feel like it's part.
What do you mean by that?
Like when you listen to like interviews where he talks about how like the culture is the first thing that he cares about when he attacks things, and he jumps in and he does stuff, and it almost felt like he was putting the culture first with everything that he was doing. I feel like Drake represents the other part of it to a degree, but I don't feel like he was taking jabs directly at Drake. Outside of when he was taking jabs directly at Drake, I feel like this was just much bigger. I feel like this. I feel this entire thing is much bigger than Drake.
I do too. But in the same token, with this being sparring, because he talked about pretty much rapping or being in a beef is part of hip hop,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
And the battles and
stuff. Things of that nature, and how when it all started, his intention was to just pretty much show who I am, what I can do in this rap shit. He's alluding to pretty much letting Drake know, and whoever else in the rap game, this is who I am. To me, if anybody else has something to say, this is probably going to happen to you too.
Yeah, I guess I see that as like which is a common theme with Kendrick. I feel like that's one of the entendres there, but I don't feel like it's the driving point. I feel like his main point is this is the way that the culture should be represented. And this is the way that I'm going to show you how to do it. And anybody that doesn't align with it,
you're going to get the Drake treatment.
It's just what it is, or it's just what it is. Like it's like what get down or stay down, or what Bean say? And
lay down. Yeah.
You going to get down or you going to lay down?
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I meant by that. Yeah. I mean, because he definitely has shots at Drake in there throughout.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
but I feel like that's just like the fun part of
it. Is
you know what I mean? Like
it's it's not what the performance is, but he made sure to include it.
Absolutely.
And then to double down on it, even when alluding to playing or going into Not Like Us.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, I say this much. As far as the whole track list is as a whole, me being a Kendrick fan, I wanted something else. You know what I mean? But I'm not mad at what I got. You know what I mean? Because this is it's a pretty much an ad for this last album. It's an ad for GNX, which is rightfully so, you know, what he should be doing.
Because he's going on tour with it.
Yeah, so I get that. But at the same time, me as a fan, there's certain records that I wanted to see on that stage. Now, and nothing that he's already performed. It's just, man, I've been riding with you since like 2009, my dog. Like, let me see something like this. Give me. It don't have to be a greatest hits performance, but give me one or two records for the people that's really your fans. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not mad at what I got, man. He gave me a hell of a show. I mean,
I hope other rappers see this, and I know it's not going to happen, but you know, where we need to step our game up as far as performances are concerned.
I wonder what Wayne thought after watching.
I really don't care. I don't care.
Hasn't watched it.
Well,
yeah, I don't care what Wayne thought.
Well, only because
I've seen his performances, and
exactly.
I'm glad they didn't stick him up on stage that would embarrass hip hop.
I agree wholeheartedly because like. Wayne would not have done what Kendrick did on that stage. You know what I mean? So you could be disappointed and all that stuff, but after watching that, there's no way you could feel no type of way about not getting that look because you would have never been able to do that on that stage.
You shouldn't.
I think that's yeah.
And you know what? And this is just the old man in me. Once again, I love hip hop. I love rhyming. I love the performances. But I'm glad there was somebody who was just a little bit more serious on that big of a stage, representing the culture. Like, I don't think there's certain people I don't want to see him on that big of a stage to twerk. I don't want to see that on that worldwide stage to where hip hop can be marginalized because of just the silliness of a lot of the stuff that's going on.
I honestly think that's part of the reason why
he chose.
Well, not that he chose it. Why a lot of people didn't understand what was going on and didn't like it because they didn't understand that the hip hop could actually be this positive and impactful.
Yeah, I think they wanted to just
buffoonery.
I think they were. It was like, wait a minute, where's the things that what we think hip hop is? Where's the cartoonish materialism? Where is
it was there?
It was there, but where are the girls shaking that? Where's the gold teeth? Where's all
that was there?
But where is it to where we can make fun of it?
Okay,
where it's not.
It's intentional.
It's intentional as opposed to just something that we can point our finger at and say, "Ha ha! This is why we don't let these people come around here."
No, I say he did the culture proud. Hip hop, just the culture of hip hop. You know what I mean? He did it. He did hip hop proud. And again, I don't think there's any artist right now that would have took that stage and did what that man did up there, man.
And if you think we're wrong, go ahead and drop it in the comments.
Man, please give me an artist that you think would be able to do something to that magnitude, man.
For 13 minutes,
hey, Drake could walk around with his big ass fluffy boots.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, with smoke coming out of fake bullet holes. But cool. What we got next on there, man? Yeah,
so from Euphoria to what you said, Terry, Man at the Garden, the acapella Under the Streetlight, which was different.
Fire.
Kind of broke it down a little bit in type of, it was a nice little segue, if you will.
And then it alluded to playing the game because Uncle Sam's caption or what he said once that went off was pretty much like, you trying to do it, the old culture cheat code.
So that's the next part. Well, Uncle Sam returns and says, I see you brought your homeboys with you. Old cultural cheat code. Scorekeeper, deduct one life.
Yeah. And that's powerful in itself for him to say that.
And what's that mean exactly?
That's pretty much saying, so like generally in black culture or whatnot, when somebody makes it to a certain, this is how I kind of, somebody makes it to a certain status or stature that is impactful or guiding people in the right direction, even if they ain't guiding people in the right direction, just somebody that somebody looks at or looks up to, somebody ends up passing away. One life deducted. So he's saying, okay, you're using your people, your culture take one life. One life is gone now. So essentially, like, picture them dudes under the street lights, and then after he says that, one of them is gone, unfortunately, passes away or is killed, shot and killed.
So it doesn't mean like with the narration that Sam's doing here, or the scorekeeper, the Uncle Sam guy, it doesn't mean, oh, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We have to take a point away. Like you need to get that point back. So you need to come over here and do these records.
It can be a double entendre.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? It could mean, this is kind of what I'm thinking.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I had never thought of it either way.
Yeah.
So
it could be the main character ends up dying. I mean, we seen that with Nip. Nip had a cultural impact like no other that was just rising, essentially. He was a positive leader in the community, and then he was taken out.
So after that interlude, it jumps into a record that I didn't really expect, which was Peekaboo.
And it went off. That might have been my favorite record. Oh, dear.
I don't even like that record in general, but I did the Trump hands. But I did actually like it in that I thought it was actually, you know what? Peekaboo is one of those records that actually has grown on me a little bit. Yeah, but they did on the X stage as well. Yeah,
and that kind of alluded to Extension.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if y'all know the history behind the Peekaboo. I believe Peekaboo was a XX Extension song at one point in time. And then when we talk about Drake again,
yeah, it's alleged
that allegedly had something to do with him meeting his demise.
He feeds into that too.
Yeah, and then with him performing that song inside of the X. Yeah, there's that. There may be some layers to that, and it may be some overstanding going on.
Maybe some coincidence.
But hey.
All right. And then from there it jumps and it teases. That's when like the Not Like Us start teasing, right? So it comes in and it drops, and it comes in and drops. And then he goes into the two women, because there's like talking going on behind it too, and it's like
he's talking to the women.
He's like,
are you gonna do it?
Are you gonna do it? Or you're not gonna do it? You know, all this stuff. And then he jumps into Luther and then all the stars. And I have a theory behind this.
You got to rewind back though, because what did he say when he was talking about that?
I don't know what he said.
I want to perform your favorite song, but you know people sue.
Right.
You know, like they like to sue.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I think it's even deeper too, because then he did the two popular records, if you will. The more
Sam told him to.
Where there was a lot of lip syncing going on. says it was absolutely lip syncing. I feel like Kendrick was potentially too, because he was going from like one side of the stage.
He was at first, yeah.
And I think it may be a little bit deeper in the sense that like I feel like these are the two records that he placed in there just to fit the storyline of these are the two records that you need to be doing.
These are the safe joints.
These are the safe records that America wants to see. Do these records. And so at the same time, he was also lip syncing, and the whole song was lip synced at the same time, because that's the safe way to do it as well. So that's just my own personal hypothesis there. So.
I dig it.
That was there was a couple people that, you know, that's where they became bored too.
I didn't like
it died down.
I didn't like that area time at all. But you know, when I look at it from the different perspective that I just made up in my head, I appreciate it a little bit more. So
it was done by design.
Yeah. And then after that, Uncle Sam returns, and he says, "We're almost there. Don't mess this up." That's what America wants, right? So again, alluding to the affirmation that those are the two records, you're going in the right direction, right? And then we get Not Like Us. Tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. Bigger than the music. Was anybody here shocked that he did Not Like Us?
Not at all.
I wasn't either.
I would have been shocked if he didn't do it.
Absolutely.
I would have been disappointed.
Yeah, when
he did the teasing, I was like,
maybe.
Why would you? Yeah, I was like,
when it first came on, I said, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. And then and dropped. But like he did, like to Jay's point earlier, he did a very good job of like editing certain things out as he was doing and everything. And you know, like I saw like this video of some like TikTok creators, and they were like emulating what Drake's attorney team, legal team was doing. It was like. like waiting for it. But he did a good job of editing the things out. But he definitely said Drake's name and looked right in the camera and just
say Drake.
Yeah,
and he didn't have to say anything because they said it. He let the crowd say it. You know what I mean? So the song is so big at this point, it's taking on a life of its own.
Yeah.
So I don't have to say the stuff that is somewhat incriminating to you. You know, I let the people
not
say
necessarily to him because he's not even getting sued.
Well, no, I'm talking about to Drake.
Oh,
yeah, you know what I mean. Like I don't have to say the words that are in this song. You know what I mean? If you're a PDF,
you heard the crowd all say in unison, A minor.
Yeah. Those weren't bots.
No, they weren't.
You know, the thing is, I think what happened at the Grammys was just a prelude. Just like the reason they did it like that at the Grammys is because it was like a precursor. So for the people that didn't know what was going on when they went to the Super Bowl,
I don't think they had anything I don't think Kendrick's team had anything to do with the music at the Grammys though. You talking about when he walked up on stage and they played
everybody said A minor.
I mean, maybe.
Well, I'll say this: the crowd at the Grammys, they're going to know anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They're going to know.
But I'm saying that became national news.
Did it come? That was news.
Yeah, I thought it was news. Like when you look at every news nowadays is tabloids. Okay. You know what I mean? So when you see Shade Room, et cetera, it's getting replayed on CNN, et cetera.
Yeah.
Twitter. Shout out to Smooth Hoover. Yeah, it's news now. So now that it's become news. Oh, well, when I see that performed at the Super Bowl, I need to do what he did there. You know what I mean?
I honestly think the record is just that big.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge record.
I mean,
it's a cultural touchstone that can't be ignored. You know, there are people that's the one Kendrick song that they know.
Yeah. Like everybody knows A minor. Everybody knows it.
Diabolical.
God tier.
And I think what he said, like I tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. It's bigger than the music. And I think that's like the whole thesis of this entire
That's exactly. It's pretty much wrapping everything up to say why I have to perform this song.
And I'm going to do it, and this is why you just witnessed what you witnessed in that particular piece.
And gotta put him up there.
Yeah.
Got to put him up there.
And then
I hate to be on the other end of a Kendrick Lamar battle, man. It's just
I don't think it will ever be another one.
When did Serena come out? Was it on that or TV off?
It was not like us.
Not like us.
And she was crip walking.
Yes.
And she also used to date Drake.
Yes.
Used to date Drake.
Did they date or was he stalking her? I can't remember.
He was dating. They was dating.
I don't know.
He got into a whole beef with Common about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
And then she doubled down on the.
That wasn't beef. That was tofu.
She did it at Wimbledon and caused a big fuss because she did a crip walk at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And got on there and did it for the whole song.
I just saw somewhere that Drake gave Serena bars in what was the one Family Matters.
Oh, really?
Well, no, I remember Drake giving I can't remember, because I don't catalog Drake's albums like some people do. And I just remember he was talking crazy to a bunch of women. Like it was real corny. Like that was a corny moment for him. And like
he did that in the past couple albums.
Yeah. And so it was like, is this really what you do?
His real character came out.
Yeah. And so I think that was as much about, hey man, like the way you move is so wrong.
That's so true.
That people have come out to really let you know that you're a sucker and a cornball.
Not for real.
You sucker.
Let's talk about how big this moment is for Kendrick, because this is the first artist that has performed a full Super Bowl.
Hip-hop artist.
Yeah. Hip-hop artist, right. Yeah.
Because there's been others at this point. But
yeah.
Nelly, Diddy.
That's right. Ugh.
And he rapped.
Yeah.
He rapped.
I
think that's an important piece of this as well.
How many views this has gotten up to now? It's already surpassed
Usher from last year.
Yeah, Usher from last year. But as far as who viewed it live, it surpassed Michael Jackson's, who held the record previously. I think it beat him by like 400,000 or something.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
When you think, and there's still this argument from people that nobody really likes Kendrick's music.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like, how can you say that
Math
at this point?
says different.
Yeah, but once again, it's bots. It's bots.
Yeah, there's a lot of argument as far as
definitely aren't any bots in that crowd screaming A minor.
Come on, man. Those are not bots. Those weren't paid for.
There's no way you can watch that performance and have anything bad to say about that, man. If you're a fan of hip hop for real,
Yeah, you can. They're just people that look. They're people who are just like they're not here for all these words and symbolism. Like it bothers them to have to think too hard when they listen to music. That's been the problem in the culture for
But that still goes to Byron's point.
Yeah,
though.
true. But that's what we've been talking about. That's why you see all these people who should know better, who are supposedly, I'm hip hop, this, that, and the third. Who are like, man, that was boring.
Yeah,
A lot of the people, or general consensus, because I don't like to say people because it hits a nerve on loan.
Yeah,
when you say people,
nobody cares about people.
General consensus are the ones that are just they don't like it because they think he should have did it differently. And when I say that, what bothers me about that is you're not in his position, and you will never be in his position to be able to say what you would have did in this moment. And just because you have a thesis and thought process on this does not make you smarter or in a position to even be able to be put on a stage like that.
But to interject to that, because I agree with you, Kendrick got on arguably the biggest stage in the world, arguably, at least in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did exactly what he wanted to do and is the biggest to ever do it.
That's what it was, man.
Why would you do anything different?
I don't know.
You don't have to.
No,
you don't.
If you can authentically be exactly who you want to be, why are you advocating somebody to be somebody that he's not? And then that's what these people need to have a real conversation
because
with themselves.
They want him to be what the general consensus, if you will, what they want him to be. Mm-hmm. Like there should be more fireworks. Why didn't you bring out Lotto or whoever? Like like that's where
even thinking that he was gonna bring out a Lil Wayne or a Drake, is beyond me.
I think there might have been a path for that.
No,
had it not been all of the stuff coming from that other side.
No, I don't.
Drake.
Nope. No, I don't think. I think
Wayne.
No, I think Kendrick is not. He's no.
Think about this.
Just who Kendrick is, though.
As far as Kendrick goes, what would be the biggest FU to Drake than to have your mentor, the person that you say saved your life, on my biggest stage or whatever?
Bring Adonis out.
I still don't see it. I still don't see it. And this is why Kendrick is a champion of the people too, because he doesn't care about giving anybody shine but people from the coast.
Yeah.
No, not himself.
People from the coast. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Well, SZA ain't from the coast.
She ain't, but she's TDE.
But also people he respects.
Yeah.
And he puts credence on that.
And she's on tour with him.
But I think he respected Wayne up until this point.
I think there's levels to it, though.
This is his moment. He was not supposed to bring out anybody from New Orleans. This is his moment. And I'm not obligated to do anything that you think that I'm supposed to do because they did not help me get on this stage.
Yeah,
it's true.
Kendrick is exactly who I thought he was.
Yes.
And I appreciate that about him.
Me too.
That's what it comes down to for me. So.
I think, if anything, he stood on who he is.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And again, to me, like that's we talk about just morals and ethics and just character, and what I look into people that I like to have around me, that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And that's what I appreciate. And so he can't do anything else.
You weren't going to cyberbully Kendrick Lamar into bringing your favorite rapper on stage. Like you just need like I said, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like
take it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And if, show and prove, like start showing up to your concerts, with your microphone on and not high. And then maybe you can.
That is the point.
Maybe you can work yourself into Kendrick's sphere by being a better performer and representing the culture like you actually take it seriously.
You guys have any final thoughts with this? I mean, I think that pretty much wraps up this conversation on the.
I think that pretty much does it.
Mm-hmm.
So good for Kendrick. It feels good to have him in that spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and for everybody that hasn't picked up on the nuances and imagery in the video or the performance, just go back and watch it. And there's plenty of people that are doing reviews and letting you know the breakdown of everything that went on in that performance. But hats off to Kendrick, man.
Yeah. And if you don't like art, just say it. Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member. All details on newoldheads.com. I need to preface this a little bit. I don't like talking about this motherfucker.
Okay.
But we're going to. He's been in the news recently, as we all know. And I'm talking about Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
There's a video by somebody called Digging in the Greats, I think, or Digging the Greats. And he's somebody who breaks down records really thoroughly and stuff like that. But he dropped a video about how and why it's hard to separate the art from the artist when it's in relation to music. And I want to kind of reference that and talk about that in reference to some of the people that we are challenged with doing so.
Why music, more than other mediums, is so hard to separate from the artist. It's because music is a time machine. There are some songs that, when you hear them, instantly transport you back to the moment you heard it. Everybody has their own version of this with different songs and experiences. And here's the thing. They aren't just memories. You can describe these things in vivid detail, and that's one thing. But when you hear the music you were listening to at the time, the feeling comes back. It's a musical feeling time machine. This is why it's so hard to separate the art from the artist, especially the older you get. It's not as easy as just saying, I'm not going to listen to their music anymore, because in some cases, the music is so tied up with your memories, you're effectively saying, I'm not going to go visit that specific memory in my emotional time machine anymore.
Thoughts?
All right. I think that might be true with certain people, but I don't find that to really be an issue with Kanye, because I don't believe that Kanye is the same person today that he was when he was making the music that I really enjoyed from him.
I see. So you feel like you can separate the two because he's a different person now than he is. Okay.
Yeah, he's a completely different person, man. Like, I truthfully believe he's on the spectrum of autism, man, and I didn't recognize it until I watched that Genius interview and I watched how his mama handled him from all of those. Even the way she talked to him like a mother with a child with autism would talk to their child, man. So she wore kid gloves with him.
And didn't he come out recently and say that?
He did.
Was that the Genius?
I think that was one of the tweets that he just put out recently.
He said that I'm not bipolar, I have autism, that he's diagnosed or something.
It's some people that might.
Probably got both.
I think he definitely has both.
He definitely has both.
I agree with you, though, as far as being two separate people, because I'm always the one on the show that has always championed Kanye West. I still rock with Kanye West based off of the Kanye West that I first met. Mm-hmm. Not met, but you know what I'm saying? I was introduced to musically. So from College Dropout to probably even Life of Pablo. I can go as far as Life as Pablo.
Nope.
He was getting a little weird. Musically, he wasn't as good as the Kanye before. But I'm saying that's kind of where he really went for real left field after Life of Pablo came out. And I've said it before. After the death of his mom, he was still cool. He was tracking, but he wasn't mourning what had happened. He was working through it, but he completely morphed into somebody else. So the Kanye that I really listen to, it ain't the same guy.
I believe
people can have that argument with R. Kelly.
Well, I think the issue with both of these dudes is they surrounded themselves with people that would not tell them no, or they were wrong about anything. Whenever you surround yourself with yes men and somebody that's just continuously telling you how great you are and never checking you when you going out of line and you out of pocket, you run into Kanye West, who he is now, man.
Yeah.
Because nobody can tell him anything. He'll tell you that. Nobody can tell me nothing because I'm great. I'm God.
You might get fired if you tell him what you really
exactly. So, man, God bless dude, man. God bless him.
So are we just talking specifically about Kanye West with this conversation? Are we talking about artists?
So.
I don't think necessarily we have to. I just think that Kanye is the one person right now who we are seeing become even more of a shitty person than he was before consecutively. Like, to me, like I'll compare him to myself for whatever reason. I go through life and every single day I try to be a better person. and everything that I do. And I feel like when I look at Kanye West, everything that he's done, maybe I'm a bad example of this, but like it's just a slope downward consecutively, like constantly, especially from the time his mother passed away. I mean, you could say it was sloping up until My Dark Twisted Fantasy, but from then, everything that he's done in his entire life has sloped downward as far as the character of who the person is. I'm not even really talking about the music per se. I'm really just talking about him as a human being. And I can't really relate to somebody who doesn't want to be a reasonable human being.
I can dig that.
And I don't fully grasp it. And so his latest stunt where he's got the Super Bowl commercial for whatever, who cares? But he's on Twitter and he's doing all the things that he's doing and he's tweeting out, you know, I like Hitler, I'm actually a Nazi, all this other stuff. But he's doing it because he knows that it's going to get attention to promote something. And that to me is the most evil, detestable bullshit ever. Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
So you don't believe that he really feels that way?
No, he might feel that way, but the thing about Kanye is he's quiet until he gets money. So notice he wasn't really saying all of this until he's officially been named a billionaire again,
or he has something to sell.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
That's what you don't hear from him until he got something to sell.
He feels like, I think a lot of Kanye West's issue is he feels like he can't be canceled. Because he's proved that he can't be canceled by his last antics that he went through with the anti-Semitic rants and things of that nature. And now it's like he's just doubling down on it based off of freedom of speech. And since Elon lets you do whatever you want on Twitter, I still call it Twitter, just like I still call it the Twitter. Gulf of Mexico.
No, for sure.
He feels like he needs to pretty much let it be known that I am me and nobody can tell me anything. Just like he showed up at the awards with his wife dressed in nothing.
Man, that's just.
But
terrible.
he did that. He did that because he thought we'd be impressed.
That's what I mean.
Because he didn't think in his mind is like, man, look at this. I got this beautiful woman I'm parading around, or at least
tight.
But that's what his
Kim Jr.
Yeah, you know, and it's like. He thinks that we'll be so impressed with that we'll listen to anything that he has to say. Like he's still, it's crazy for somebody who has been as lauded as he is as far as the awards, the money, the records sold. He still wants it's just still this weird want for acceptance. And for, you know, like things he says sometimes, it's like, I've slept at Elon Musk's house. Like he wants us to know that because he thinks we'll be impressed. Like not because it's impressive, but because he thinks like, you know, also he has this issue with the proximity to whiteness that he still has to work out. And I think that's a real problem that he has.
And that is weird being who his parents were.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, like I have this crazy theory about, you know, cats that are, because me and Kanye are roughly the same age, you know, and, you know, at one point, you know, I'll keep this as brief as possible. You know, if you were a black child growing up before the Cosby Show came on, the only time you saw black children thriving and had smiles on their faces
was the Cosby Show.
No, this is before the Cosby Show. Okay. It was Different Strokes, Facts of Life, and For a Quick Moment, Webster. All those shows had the same thing in common. The children
by white men.
They all
white people.
All these people, it was their proximity to whiteness that gave them joy. And for some people, I do think that was detrimental to their, you know, to how they viewed themselves and how they view their own blackness. Like I said, I'm really taking it somewhere that a lot of people will be like, that's a bit much. But hey, knowing what a tool television is and how it makes people think about themselves and how sometimes only you can see, you know, empathize and have joy through those characters and their joy, especially if you're a kid that doesn't have, you know, if you saw Arnold and Willis growing up at a certain point and they living in a penthouse, you know, and eventually going from calling him Mr. Drummond and calling his white man daddy, like, you know, there are some brothers who have been mentally impacted by that sort of thing.
I think with Kanye,
they're walking through it in a way that a lot of us have not really tried to actually figure out, you know. So
I think there's some truth to that, but I think Kanye West's situation is he actually had parents that put him in situations to where he was able to experience things that the normal child weren't able to experience. I mean, he lived in China for a while. You know what I'm saying? His mother was a teacher. He never rapped about poverty and things of that nature.
Right.
he rapped about who he was and things he was going through. He pretty much was one of the first rappers to ever take that angle on rap.
He rapped from a middle class kid,
exactly,
growing up. You know, his parents actually, you know, they weren't, these dudes were not. He was not about street. They weren't street people.
Exactly. So, you know, I think with specifically with Kanye is once he got on and then lost his mother, he lost himself, whether he wants to admit it or not. He lost his way as far as what he actually got in the game to do, and became somebody that. I don't know, man. I don't know who this dude is anymore, honestly.
I think he's always been this person.
He's always been this person.
This wildly insecure person. I think this is just a wildly insecure person who happened to be very successful. And the way he manifests his insecurity, whether it comes out through things he says and how he treats women, the things
he said he's put his hands on women. And like this is what I was trying to tell you earlier. So he's so far gone right now. During this rant, he was saying that Drake said that Kendrick put his hands on a woman, but there's no visual evidence like there is for Puff. And then he was like, he doubled down saying, I've put my hands on a woman before, essentially. We need to help Puffy out. This is his angle. So his mental,
he thinks he's God.
His mental clarity is gone, man. It's like you're not even listening to a real person talk here.
Look, we've said this a bazillion times on the show. He is a narcissist.
Absolutely.
By the definition, I think he's always been one. He's highly, highly, highly insecure, which is one of the reasons why, to your point, Byron, he never has the right people around him. Mm-hmm. Because if you say something to him, he's probably going to get you out of there. Yeah. It's why we watched that. Remember back in the day, it kind of felt like Rhymefest was kind of in his ear a little bit. But I remember one of those documentaries the other time. He was like sitting on the floor, like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. And we were like, nah, that's whack. That's garbage. Like, what? I feel like to be around him, you kind of have to be. Again, this is from the outside looking in, but his life is very public. But he's an extreme narcissist. I don't know, to your point, if he believes the stuff that he says. I think that he thinks that he's bigger than all of it. And I don't think it.
That goes back to him thinking that he can't be canceled.
Yeah, I think he thinks that he's God.
But that's just going back to what this guy was saying. Like, I still listen to Kanye's up through like Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's pretty much where it ends for me, because then he's almost this parody of himself after that, because he thinks because we listen to spaceships and crack music that he can get on and start talking to us about it. It went from him just giving us an opinion and something we could relate to him fussing at us. You know, when I hear him talking about, the thing that bothered me the most when he got off into the black skinhead area and he's talking about new slaves, I was like, we're not the new slaves. You are the one that is obsessed with European clothes, European cars, and European women. Like, don't talk to me about being a new slave when, honestly, the gaze of everything that you see is excellent has to go through the prism of whiteness. And that's pretty much everything that he does now. And, you know, but whenever he gets in trouble, it's like, my black children this, my black children that.
He goes there right away. It's right away. That's what he'll go on a rant and then he'll defend himself with exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Every single time.
You know, so it's like those, especially the first 3 albums, because I felt like, okay, this is not only where the beats fire, what he was rapping about was more relatable to me personally, you know, as someone who, you know, grew up middle class and you know, I did not have those street experiences that I love listening to, but I couldn't relate to specifically. But then it got to be like, it was Kanye, the person rapping, and then it was Kanye, the celebrity rapping. Yeah,
because at this point, his influence has become poisonous, because the things that he's talking about, even what he was trying to sell, and they ended up taking Shopify took his site down, so he can't sell anything on the site. But he had a whole Super Bowl commercial trying to sell an item that was anti-Semitic. I don't know. I really don't understand where all this is coming from. It's mad weird.
Proximity to Elon Musk.
It's mad weird, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's troublesome and it pisses me off, because I really like Kanye, but
because
you can't like this version of this person.
No, what's whiter than white supremacy, and that's what he wants to be close to. What's it than the T-shirt with a swastika on?
You know, Byron, you brought up a good point though. Like, do we think that he's doing this on purpose in that aspect? And it kind of makes me wonder too sometimes, because of how fast it's kind of like Candace Owens knows better, but she's who she is, right? Yeah. It's like she's playing a role.
Yeah.
Kanye seems to do the same thing to the point to where, like, he'll say all this crazy shit, which I feel like it's just because he knows that it's going to put his name in the algorithm. Mm-hmm. And then whenever he gets any type of pushback, he'll drop stuff that is actually valid. Mm-hmm. And then it's like he's trying to like, you know, soften everything that's happened. But because of all this other here, and it's like, so he knows better, but which makes it worse. To me, it makes it worse if he does know better, which I think, and then again, it goes, you know, maybe it's the mental health thing. I don't know, you know.
Man, you know, the weird part for me was, you know, the first time he wild out or whatever, and then he drops this gospel album, and then he's turned this whole new leaf. He
not cussing anymore.
Yeah. And then
he's a whole different Kanye now.
And he gives you that, well, the Nazi stance again, you know, and then, no, because the first thing was the slavery shit.
Harriet Tubman
talk. Yeah. And then, you know, he gives you the gospel album, and then comes a Nazi, and, you know, beautiful big titty women just don't fall out the sky, you know.
You know?
Which, look, man. All right, I get him.
Hey, what did Jadakiss say? He liked the first 4 Kanyes that he met.
Yeah. Like, dude, man, I ain't gonna lie. Now, his wife, she's
an attractive woman.
I mean,
Sensori, the naked chick.
Yeah, I've seen everything. I've seen her.
Yeah,
I saw that.
She got a nice body. But,
said, hey, those things is thinking.
Never heard her talk, but
well, yeah, she's probably not allowed to talk.
She's a mute.
Mm-hmm. Kanye he don't like his women.
She won a Grammy.
She ain't all that to me though. If I want to be 100% honest,
she
with
like
you,
him.
She's straight.
She's straight.
She just don't wear no clothes.
Yeah, or
the clothes that you wear, you can see everything she got.
And that's the sad part. That's the sad part about it for me, man. Like, man, how can you say you respect this woman enough to call her your wife, but you parade her around like a toy?
Yeah,
and that is just
that's not very Christ-like. If you
oh man, I just
like
couldn't
blow up doll.
Yeah, I couldn't do that with nobody that I call my wife, man. You know what I mean?
Like, even the clothes that you put on, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, be revealing to the essence of everybody gonna be like.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe it's her choice. Maybe she wants to
might be.
No, he said he had dominion over I got dominion over my wife.
Maybe that's in the clause.
Amen.
Look, this is the thing, and we spoke about this many moons ago. You know, when he decided he was going to be godly as opposed to being worldly. Mm-hmm. I said, I hope if this is really part of his journey, then I admire him for that. But if this is just pink polos and bleached assholes, things that you were into at one point, then I can't respect it. And that's what I feel like. I think he was using God's word as a hustle, and maybe he felt like God, if he turned his life to God and did the Jesus is King album, then God would just give him anything he wanted. And when he realized that, you know, God's word is not transactional that just doesn't work like that. He thought you know, God and Santa Claus will, you know, write him a list and he'll just get you what you want. That's not how it works. And so now he's turned his back. Now he's turned his back on Christianity. He's just as out there and wild because it's like, well, I didn't get what I wanted out of Christianity, so I moved on. Just like I moved on from the fashion choices I made. You know, I don't wear what I used to wear, and I don't, you know. So I like I said, him using God's word as a hustle is why I just don't even give his music a chance anymore, because that's just disrespectful and deplorable to me.
It's weird just because, like, yeah, man, I don't know. That's just one word to describe Kanye. Just weird, man. Yeah, dude is weird.
Something else. To kind of circle back to what he's talking about as far as artist wise, though, and being able to separate the artist from who they are and what they did.
Right.
I want to kind of touch on R. Kelly because I brought his name up.
Pause.
All right. I think a lot of the thing with R. Kelly is, especially people our age, this is music that we were in junior high and high school and college, and so it expanded a lot of years.
So you were the prey.
That's exactly what he said.
No, I wasn't the prey. I wasn't the prey, but I did know girls in high school that said that they knew who R. Kelly was back then, and I didn't believe them.
Right.
But when all this shit started coming out, I mean, mind you, R. Kelly lived right next door to us. Mm-hmm. So once it came out, I'm like, damn, them chicks wasn't lying. You know what I'm saying? But It's weird because I feel like more women still rock with R. Kelly than men.
They got their own memories tied to him.
Yeah, that kind of goes to his point.
I mean,
to a degree.
look, I still like. Your body's calling me. Like I wasn't a huge R. Kelly fan, but I loved that record. You know, I used to go on my little slow jam tapes, and then like when I was messed up behind the first woman I call myself being in love with, I Can't Sleep. That was a soundtrack to that.
Yeah,
he had a song on Space Jam. I Believe I Can Fly.
Come on, man. Like I know people who, they can't let go of I Wish because of somebody that they lost around that time.
Yeah.
So again, it goes to his point about how art is, because it is. This isn't like something like if it comes out tomorrow that like, I don't know, Brad Pitt or somebody else is this deplorable person, like it's pretty easy to like not watch a movie.
Yeah, because it's done that with actors. Who was it? Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was just out here. He went from being like the top dog.
Freaking Louis C.K. got caught with off or something.
That was messed up though.
With permission.
Because I actually liked Louis C.K. I was upset that happened.
But
then,
he asked though.
Aziz Ansari.
Aziz Ansari.
That was messed up too.
Yeah, but that was during the time where
anybody
it was
who
for
did
real
something
cancel
wrong.
culture. If you did something to anybody and it came out, it was going to ruin your career.
But that's
and
the
these
messed
are
up thing.
these are people who weren't as successful as a Kanye West and couldn't bounce back from a situation like that.
They weren't
Kanye
really
is
canceled, though.
he's using his stardom as a power. He's using that as a superpower.
Yeah.
Letting you know that it doesn't matter what you say or what I say or what I do. They can stop me from selling this stuff, but I'm going to be just fine because I'll just drop another album or I'll start doing some crazy shit again and they'll buy right back into it.
But that's all Louis C.K. and Aziz Ansari had to do was keep putting out product. They're
part of the Hollywood machine though. Man. Hollywood had to get behind that.
Yes and no. We got YouTube, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, Louis got a podcast now.
Yeah, and Aziz, got back out there with because I thought that one was really messed up, but I had some real conversations
he had to give his show over with to Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
It didn't go right.
Yeah, I mean, but they still, even after that, he did have a Netflix special and he addressed it.
Yeah.
But it was just like, damn, man.
He was on a run too.
He was Master of None. Like, I love that show.
Come on, man.
Man, too. I made a whole album based on it.
And it was just like, but when I can't act like, because people can say, oh, I'm not messing with R. Kelly. And I can say that, but you know what? Sometimes on my phone, like old clips of The Cosby Show, will come up.
I'll look at The Cosby
and
Show
I watch,
every day.
because I think about watching that show at 7 p.m. Central Time with my mom and my sister on Thursday night. And how the level of joy that brought us.
It just goes to his point, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It absolutely goes to his point.
I don't know, but at the same time, maybe it's just because I'm a hard ass. Like I feel like for the Kanye position here, like what he's doing is so foul because he understands what he's doing and he's using the system and the algorithm to give him more hits because he knows that he's so polarizing that people are going to talk about him.
Yeah.
I really would like to challenge media to not.
Even if he wasn't if media didn't pick it up, he is standing next to somebody who can amplify whatever it is that he's putting out there. He's attached himself to Elon.
Oh, you're talking about Elon.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's ultimately who is putting his message out. And they amplifying
they're just not blocking him.
Yeah, but or they, he's able to put it in your because I get tweets from Elon Musk. I don't follow that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he owns Twitter though.
Exactly.
And you can't block him.
But that's what
I'm not on
saying.
Twitter anymore. So
that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Ye has that same Ye standing next to him because of that reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, like I feel a certain level of responsibility being in media.
Oh, big shot.
Here we are.
Yeah.
No, but in general, like we've been doing this for 15 years now. You know what I mean? Ooh. So it's kind of what it is. Like I almost want to challenge people to not bite on his antics.
That's real. We don't have to talk. We don't have to talk about him.
No, I think this type of conversation is okay to talk about, but I don't want to talk about what he's promoting. I don't want to talk about all the Kanye is. Cue the Denny Green clip. Like he is who we thought he was. But
they are who we thought they were. and we let him off the hook.
But they say there's no such thing as bad publicity.
That's what they say, and I think that's what he buys into.
Mm-hmm.
But we just got done talking about Kendrick Lamar. He's the antithesis of everything Kendrick represents.
I kind of feel like he's a little envious of Kendrick Lamar.
I think he's very much envious of Kendrick
That's why
Lamar.
I dropped that diss record and then it didn't do shit. And then
and now all of a sudden he loves Drake again.
I'm just saying, he gets too much of our energy. And I can say this from doing this show for over 8 years, in a row. Like, he gets too much of our energy for not contributing anything positive to anything that we're doing. And honestly, I wish he would go away.
Did you listen to Bully?
No, I'm not going to listen to that shit.
Is it?
I'm not listening to that shit.
Did you listen to Vultures?
No, none of that shit.
Yeah.
I'm a Kanye fan, and I haven't. Bullies don't come out until like June or July.
He has to make a formal apology for all the shit for me to want to at that point. That's where I'm staying. I don't separate the art from the artist. I'm that person.
I still listen. But
I don't.
I listen
not
just
judging, but I don't.
I listen just because I feel like it's, and this is sad, but I feel like it's my duty to do so. You know what I mean? Just because.
And I feel like it's my duty to
not do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just my duty to do it, just to give it at least a once over to know if I like it or not. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for at least the last 4 or 5 projects from this dude, I have not liked them at all.
I mean, those last 4 were trash, at least. But
it's such a huge fall.
At least that's what people tell me, because I haven't actually listened to them.
And that again goes to his star power.
No, it does.
He dropped 4 duds when it comes to a scale of hip hop greatness and what he came from.
Mm-hmm. He's bigger
and
than
he's
it now.
Still
got people that are gonna listen to it.
Still going to have numbers.
Hell, he had an album that went. That song, that Carnival song.
Then that was
Grammy nominated.
Yeah,
that was the last song that I remember hearing from him.
And ultimately, man, like that, the reason that Carnival album got a pass from me, because I was at one point in time a huge Ty Dolla $ign fan.
Let me ask you this question though, because you just said you can give his old records a pass because he was a different person.
Yeah, not a pass, but I'm not throwing them away.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know who he is now.
Mm-hmm.
So
why do I still listen to his new stuff?
Yeah.
You didn't know that then.
Yeah, I mean, what if he starts dropping Nazi raps and stuff? Like, is that something?
Oh, hell no, I'm done. Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's who he is, right? So that would just be my argument. Because at this point, we know who he is at this point, right? So
that's real. Even when he was doing the whole, the slavery was, it helps. Yeah, it helps me form an opinion of who he really is now. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I listen to it, because it gives me a glimpse on where he is in his life. So when I hear that beautiful, when I listen to that Vultures album, I'm like, this thing is a pervert. He's a real pervert.
He's a pervert on Life of Pablo.
Yeah, for me to hear some of this stuff, I'm like, dog, man, this dude is gone.
This is literally just star power then.
Yeah, that's exactly
he's rapping
what
about being a celebrity, the things you can do and the ways you can move around women. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Get out of here, dog. Nobody want to hear this shit.
He's parading.
I mean, there are people
around.
Yeah,
we just talked about that line last time I was here. We was talking about the bleach asshole line. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's
he ruined that song.
Yeah.
He thinks it's the greatest song ever. He's like, yeah, man. I had to get Metro name dropping ass motherfucker.
And this is the sad thing. You know what I mean? Cudi set that song up, man. It was he handed it on a platter to him.
That song gives you chills when it first comes on.
Yeah. And then this nigga start rapping to you
about bleached assholes,
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Wrap up the bleach assholes. Well, let's see. So yeah, thanks for tuning into the New Old Heads podcast, episode 424, maybe even 25. We don't even know yet. Shouts to Brother Tonight. Appreciate you coming on as always.
Appreciate y'all.
Of course, Maja 7th.
Maja.
See him next week, and yeah, peace.
Weirdos.
In a minute.